Jumpahhh could have made a lot more plays happen in the jungle role, but he was just shut down a little bit too early. He had 2 quick deaths there. After that first blood, he revives. He tries to make another play happen with his global pressure ultimate, but then he just overstretched and got punished yet again.
Yeah, and I think that's why we might see this one go all 3, Anatoly. Watching what Jumpahhh was able to do, or rather what he wasn't able to do in game number 1 was, I think, not really representative of what this guy brings to the table, even against a squad like Astral Authority. I think they shut him down early, and probably that's because they've done it often, right? They're scrim partners one more time, so they know how dangerous and lethal Jumpahhh can be, they being Astral Authority. But coming into game number 2, I think Flashpoint will understand the focus might be a little bit more in the jungle and look to get Jumpahhh ahead, whether that be by playstyle or picks. Let's get into it right now. P's and B's, pretty please. As we get into game number 2, Flashpoint will opt for the first pick here.
And it's going to be important for them to get a lot of comfort for their jungle. I think the Ratatasker was a good pick. I just don't think that he utilized it very well by ganking out Wolves several times in the solo lane is not where you want to put your eggs in that basket.
First ban, Odin, immediately. Just the immediate, no more.
When you have to change your pick to deal with the cage, for example, having to have Checo play the Hu Yi instead of maybe something else that he's comfortable for is not a perfect scenario for your hunter.
Yeah, it's funny how Odin changes the game, but Wolves just changes the game with this pick. And like we said in game number 1, Flashpoint wanted to see if they can deal with it. And I really think oBoronic was the MVP, but I think the game changer at that 20-minute mark was Odin. He makes the trip all the way from the short side and sets his team up for the rest of the victory. He basically digs the ball out of the ground and then gives it to his team and goes, go score.
And I don't see Flashpoint being able to play Thoth themselves for Panda mid, and I don't see Flashpoint using their next ban onto oBoronic stuff, because oBoronic can play anything under the sun, and then if you're wasting the ban on the Thoth, then here comes a Giannis, Discordia, Raijin potentially, and Astral are still going to be looking to make those plays early.
Flashpoint option over to them as they're searching for their second ban. Astral have already taken care of the Global Athena, and Flashpoint opted for the Khepri, character that has been very, I won't say very popular, but certainly something that we've seen more of this weekend than we've traditionally seen.
Defense is normally a lot better. Like, a great defense is better than a great offense because your ability to retaliate, and I think that's what Khepri really brings to the table. Just mitigating damage with the Rising Dawn, being able to add a secondary life with the Scarab's Blessing. It was difficult for Matt Koiz to really find the targets because of just how much burst Astral had on everyone. Thor from Layers was doing work, Wolves bird bombing several targets, and oBoronic was just popping off from a distance.
Matt Koiz right there. He said he and Jumpahhh are the 2 vocal players for this squad, but Artemis will be selected for that man, Mr. Michael Checo. Michael Checo, as his jersey says.
Oh my goodness.
I actually really like that. I like when players name themselves their own name. It's fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah.
Same.
Mike Ross.
Yeah.
Michael Checo. It's a fun look.
It's a good thing to do.
Michael Checo.
Build your brand.
Not sure. Artemis, the first overall pick. Yeah, ton of lane pressure with that crit passive, able to really slow people down. The trap keeps Chernobog players at bay as well. Tusky can be an incredible nuisance during a team fight, one of the better team fight oriented ultimates for the Hunter world. There's very few times where Artemis is not really a luxury that you want to opt for. Against Odin is one of those times. So the last game was not Artemis's favorite time, which is why we saw the Hu Yi. But across the way, Astral Authority will go for the Terra.
Yeah, Artemis was banned very early in the draft, the last game, and I think Flashpoint are considering more of a late game scenario. The way I always got to look at Rival in the console scene, the way they pilot Artemis, because they build around Vaporward Coast. They make sure that Dinosaur plays the Geb. So if Flashpoint are catering towards Rival style, the next pick should be Geb for Matt Koiz, being able to help Michael Checo transition safely in that mid to late game.
Susano does a good job of pulling Artemis out of her comfort zone. She drops a trap and sits behind it. Susano can literally pull her away from the little trench that she's dug herself. Terra going to do some nice crowd control as well, but more importantly, that ultimate. Ton of damage, ton of healing. So Flashpoint have to deal with that across the way.
Earth and Fury is no joke in team fights, lowering the enemy's team damage, boosting your own. It's not that same global pressure ultimate, and it's actually better, I would say, now than it was in the past recent times, being able to change the team fight so heavily.
Yeah, we'll see how the option goes here. You were looking for the Geb. It's going to be the dodgy for Jumpahhh. Again, there's a Poseidon, so focusing more on the comfort of the jungler, which we did ask for earlier, and getting Panda mid, one of his characters that he does excel at. As again, the guy newer to LAN here, Poseidon has been the character that I think he's looked the best on this weekend, so go for that one. Dodgy's a little bit different though, Toli. Straight up, not the biggest fan of this character, but Jumpahh's very good at it. So I think his comfort level kind of supersedes the X's and O's here.
I think the mobility that you gain from the 1,000 cuts is just superior, specifically on console, being able to wiggle your way around players, making it more difficult to be hit. And that's a big deal when you're trying to dive the backline. But the Poseidon pick, I think, is a good look for Panda mid because of all these escapes. Terra needs to dash into her monolith to utilize the combo, so you drop the whirlpool under her, cripple her, prevent that dash from occurring. Also, Susano can't use that third strike of the Storm Kata.
Yeah, big deal there. Chernobog will be selected for Cyprexa, and this is one of his premier selections, one of the newer characters available here. As Baron not really on the table just yet, so Chernobog is the newest god here in Smite. We'll see the Hunter play it. One, you look at Cyprexa's highlight reels, they're all Chernobog. He's been crushing it in the regular season with this pick. But I mentioned before, Artemis kind of keeps Chernobog at bay. Using your Chernobog ultimate on the other Hunter, you're almost undoubtedly going to get trapped and tuskied.
The Tusky into the trap. There's a lot of defensive plays that I think Michael Checo has in his arsenal, and that's going to be important for him to survive these ganks, specifically coming from Layers on the Susano, as both Hercules and Sobek are banned away, targeting out Delnyy. Something that he's been doing is the Hercules after he realized, like, oh, okay, Hercules is pretty good, as he brought it out up against Revenge yesterday. Yeah,
Herc and Sobek have been Delnyy's picks for a while. Raijin and Kuzenbo banned here versus Astral. Cyprexa there again. Chernobog going to be a lot of fun to watch, but I do think he might have a hard time versus some of these other characters. Poseidon also going to affect him because of the dash. But the Guan Yu, a pick that we've seen come out before from Wolves, and it did pretty well. Gave pressure where we didn't expect it to.
Now, this Guan Yu pick is a little early. Normally, you would want to last pick it, making sure that you're not picking it into something that's canceling your Tallow Assault. That's basically the bread and butter. And
also anti-heal.
That's true. There's some options here, but knockups are not one of them. Nike's jump does not cancel the Tallow Assault.
Yeah, so the lane matchup here doesn't really, nobody wins as Nike selected versus the Guan. Nike, one of the toughest characters to kill in my personal opinion, just incredibly high life pool. And she's going to build HP anyway to synergize with the ultimate as well. Sometimes it feels like she can have a small impact in the team fight, but the passive really helps out, and I think that's why we see her selected here, Toli. Dodgy and Artemis with those Nike passives are really going to be nice.
You got the offense with the Nike passive boosting Artemis's numbers, but then you got the defense from the Geb, that Stone Shield, going to get Artemis out of the danger zone, but that's a lot of burst damage with his Hobwa for oBoronic.
It's funny. Hebo is one of the characters that I love to see, and I like to see him in the jungle over the middle lane. I don't like Hebo traditionally into Nike because she's going to build full HP, and that's, you're not really doing the Hebo thing against the Nike. And in the middle lane, he's a little bit more susceptible to death. But I said that there's asterisks on some players and some picks, and this is certainly one of them. oBoronic made a name for himself on the Hebo a year or two ago, and I think he's still that good.
Well, you mentioned the more health you have as a Nike, but you build into Soul Reaver, build into Ethereal Staff, and that health actually hurts you in a way by not surviving against some of this burst damage. And more importantly is not the health for Flashpoint, but the sustain from Astral. This Guan Yu and Terra combination is going to make the team fights last really long. If Flashpoint don't find the burst damage that they're looking for, I just see Astral running away with this after 25 minutes into the game.
Yeah, Astral have a real mid-game composition, right? Susano in the early game, how do you feel about him in the jungle?
I think that he's going to be able to rotate accordingly. I don't think he's going to out-clear Dodgy.
Right.
It might be the same pace, but I think these junglers should be relatively quiet and look for the counter ganks before initiating themselves, because farming and getting to the mid game more impactful. Nike is another statement where you gotta, build those halos. So you gotta get the minions first, make sure that you get those 2 players at level 20, and then you gotta look for those 10 kill markers.
Yeah, so Flashpoint certainly positioning themselves for the late game with the Nike, the Artemis. Delnyy and Poseidon will kind of run that mid game. And then Astral, on the other hand, they're kind of looking again for the mid and the late game as well, right? Hebo going to bring a lot of that burst damage towards there, and Susano kind of going to run things in the mid game. So once again, these teams kind of have the same plan coming out.
If you think about the draft from Astral last game with the Thorthoff compared to this game, the Susano Habwa, it was long range in game 1, more short range and condensed in game number 2, and that's why Guan very helpful to be able to keep that death ball still rolling down the hill.
Everybody's going to be grouped up, so the Uzi of healers, like I say, pretty often is going to be very effective here. Who wins? That's what we're going to watch them play. We're going to ask you out there in chat. Is it going to be Flashpoint taking this to the 3rd game, or are we just going to see it all end right here as we head into things, because Astral just look that good?
They do, out of the North American side. I think for Europe specifically, they still need to answer some of those questions, because Rival look like their whole other level, but consistently Astral out of North America have been very dominant. They defeated Flashpoint in both their Week 3 and Week 6 matchup 2-0 very cleanly.
Yeah, really just clean is the word I would use as well. Astral looking at Flashpoint, Flashpoint looking at Astral. When I look at what Flashpoint are bringing to the table, I just need more Tolly. Jumpahhh just wasn't able to do it in game number 1. Delnyy usually leaves me a little bit more disgruntled than I'd like to admit. I just don't think she brings a lot to the table these days, Tolly, but Jumpahhh has a lot of confidence with his character, and he's got a lot of victories with the character. Sometimes things on paper don't always translate or defy their translation on the battlefield.
So looking at the order of the Delnyy picked, it was immediately after the Terra and the Susano combination. Neither of those 2 gods having CC immunity, so able to at least pull those 2 targets. Chernobog, Guan, Habwa can still escape with their own ultimates, and when you have to consider going Blink versus the Purification beads at level 1, I'm not expecting Layers to be too aggressive with the Blink. Needs to always worry about the Delnyy, needs to worry about getting crippled by the Poseidon, the Cataclysm knockup from Geb, something to always keep in the back of your mind. So we could potentially see Jumpahhh be the one picking up the Blink, looking for those aggressive plays himself.
Well, game number 1, the victory went to Astral Authority, and their MVP was their mid laner, Oboronic. This time around, he's playing on his iconic Hebo, and looking to sort of repeat that performance. But if you're looking at the draft, I don't think Hebo's the one that kind of takes the bull by the horns and does things by himself. Who are you looking for on Astral's side to be the facilitator and get this game going?
Facilitating it would have to be Bobby onto the Terra, or potentially even Layers. Susano can make it happen, but I definitely think Oboronic will eventually look for that follow-up. Like, once there is that sort of primary engagement from those 2 gods, that's when Oboronic could potentially still have his 2nd MVP performance.
And it's absolutely possible, and right now, a lot of people on the side of AA, 81% of y'all think that the blue team is going to be able to take this one home. The black and white, unfortunately, under 20. So the fans certainly coming out for Astral Authority. Oboronic and the boys going to be looking for the victory here. If Flashpoint take the victory, looking at the composition that we have one more time, what do you think that they're going to be looking for? Who's going to be the one starting everything here?
Flashpoint, it's got to be Jumpahhh on this Delnyy. He has to help facilitate for this Artemis to get her very safely to that mid to late game, or just help separate herself away from this Chernobog. The battle between Michael Checo versus Cyprexa is going to be stale if there's no outside jungle influence, and I'm expecting Jumpahhh to kind of be the first one there.
So kind of like the game plan from game number 1 that didn't come to fruition.
Yeah.
Look for the dual lane. Unfortunately, it didn't work last time. But now, Delnyy, if it works out, we'll still be looking at the dual lane.
It should be the case, because Terra is annoying to deal with, so there needs to be that 3rd person. The 2v2 matchup should favor Astral, I think, in the long run as the laning phase kind of develops, but if you add junglers into that mix, I think Delnyy will have a little bit more burst damage in the early game than the Susano will.
Are you worried about the Hebo? Hebo
Yes.
mid always scares me a little bit.
I am like, that's the X factor.
On both sides, to be honest.
Yes. If Oboronic has a bad game, then Astral don't win this game. But it's very easy to get one good knock up, a good crushing wave, clipping 2 members, and then all of a sudden winning a team fight very convincingly, rather, as Flashpoint needs to always keep that in the back. But if you're focusing Habwa, you're leaving yourself a little vulnerable to potentially get return fired on. So when you go onto Boronic's Habwa, you have to be like 90% sure that you're going to get the kill and not giving anything in return.
And that's what Daji here does. It's funny, Daji picked beforehand Hebo, but when you're looking to take care of Hebo, you're looking at two different worlds. Either complete CC lockdown so he can't push any buttons, or kill him so he can't push any buttons. So you either go the Hunbat's direction, where you fear no evil and kill him while he's feared, or you go the Daji, Hot Hands, Hydra's Lament build, where you jump on him and he's already dead, like the Loki approach, so to speak. So I do like that Flashpoint. I do think that they are enabled to take care of Hebo if they're able to really perform and execute.
They are able to force out the ultimates at the very least.
Yeah.
Once the Whirlpool Kraken comes out, defensive Crushing Wave comes through. Once the Powwow comes through, you got to be looking for that defensive ultimate. You could also use the beats to hold on to your ultimate to look to play offensively, but I think that Astral don't have to worry about too much as long as they can get to that mid game. Even if Astral struggle a little bit in the early game, if Flashpoint can confirm a Gold Fury or two, I still think the double healing from both Terra and Guan Yu fairly strong enough to start winning team fights, even with like a 5,000 gold deficit.
Yeah, Astral right here trying to get all the way to the finals. It's a double elimination tournament this time around. So yesterday they lost, unfortunately. They won their first match, but then they wound up just getting trounced by Rival. And you can see Rival beat up Flashpoint to really get here. So now it's Astral versus Flashpoint. It's the two teams that have lost to Team Rival to see who will go and try to beat Team Rival a second time.
Two best-of-5s into that grand finals. Rival only having to win one of them to avoid a bracket reset. That's a lot to ask for either of these two North American teams.
Yeah, it's a little complicated, but to boil it down, basically all these matches are best of threes, including the one we're watching right now, which is technically losers semis, right? Or losers finals. And as we go into the grand finals, it'll be Rival versus the winner of match 5, which is the one we're watching right now. And that'll be a best of 5. But then, as Totally said, if the team from the losers bracket winds up winning, then we got to do it all over again. Rival get the advantage because they haven't lost just yet. So if they win, that's it. We're going home. But if we do see the winner of this Flashpoint and Astral Authority team or match take the victory, well, then we're here for a while. Right now, we'll be right back. We're getting into game number 2. Bear with us. We'll be right back with the Smite Console League Summer Finals. Welcome back. We're bringing it to you. Game number 1 already in the books. Astral Authority have beat up Flashpoint, and I don't use that term loosely. They really beat them up.
Well, it was a slow start, but yeah, eventually towards the late game, that's exactly what happened. oBoronic popped off on the Thoth. He's your Game 1 MVP. Playing the Hobwa game number 2 has that MVP potential again.
Yeah, going to be really exciting. Graham Hadfield and Ryan Agro-Bailey on the call. Game number 2.
Thanks a lot, Tom and Anatoly. Yeah, sorry about the delays. It was my fault.
What'd you do?
Huh?
What'd you do?
I forgot there was a game 2.
You
Game
forgot?
Game one was so dominant that I went to the bathroom and forgot I was supposed to be in the cast. So.
Oh my God, you were in the bathroom that long? Are you feeling okay?
No, not really.
Oh man,
I'm,
to hear
I'm
that.
feeling violently sick that Europe may win another console, lad. I'm so confused.
What do you mean?
Well, to be fair, I've got to turn around and say the one thing I'm so impressed about the European console players is we watch these 2 North Americans try and compete against and get to the finals to face the European rival is how far they've come, and they never gave up hope. Like,
No.
you see a lot of teams, I mean, EU's been a rough scene for the most part on console to try and find a team that could compete with North America. Now they've found one, and it's doing good work.
They're really good. It did take them some time.
But some of those players have been around a long time to do that.
Some of them have. I mean, really, the only one from the old guard, though, is Rapio. Dinosaur has been around for a little bit as well, going back to Season 3. But outside of that, I mean, that is a fairly new squad. Predators having some experience previously as well. That's kind of the dream, right? Is that you just wait until your scene gets mature enough that these new players start really impressing.
Well, it's also the old guard, the boys club, so to speak, kind of slowly dissipates as time goes on because people realize that, yeah, you might be boys, but if you want to win tournaments, you want to win games, you can't just go with friends.
No, that is not going to work out for you 9 times out of 10. It's pretty rare to have all of your best friends be also really sick at Smite all at the same time. That's not exactly easy.
So the 2 hunters that were banned in Game 1 will be available for this game. You can see Cyprexa and Checo will be playing those. Artemis and, of course, the Chernobog, one of the latest gods to the game.
Has been banned quite a bit so far during this land, particularly against Cyprexa. I do think this is Cyprexa's best god right now, so I'm sure he's happy that he got it.
Purple's going to go down and picked up by Koiz, secured, and Koiz just walks away. He'll heal back up with those the potions in his inventory. I'm not sure about mana pots and a Geb. Koiz, we need to have words about that, I'm sure, because there's no reason ever that you're going to need a mana potion over a multi-potion as a Geb.
Nah, man, I'm knocking up all the time.
Listen, even if you use your rollout on cooldown and all your abilities on cooldown, you're not going to run out of mana with Guardian's Blessing multi-potion. I'm just saying.
I know you're right. I know.
It's the only thing that tells me what because supposed I'm like, what did they build? Why have you got mana pots? What is this?
I mean, if you're like
Season 1?
Bacchus. Sobek used a lot of mana pre-5.
Sobek's mana costs are pretty low, though, in the grand scheme. Don't take into account what I'm talking about is Guardian's Blessing has MP5 on it, but not only MP5 on it, the actual passive when minions die around you gives you some mana back too.
Yeah, that's really where the huge thing is from Guardian's Blessing. And glad to see that no double Guardian's Blessing this time around in the duo lane. Astral was doing that yesterday, where both Cyprexa and Inbowned were picking up Guardian's Blessing. Cyprexa has gone towards the Hunter's Blessing this time around. A wise decision. Bobby and I had a little discussion about it, and he was pretty convinced that the extra gold from Guardian's Blessing was worth it, and I disagree.
I mean, I guess that was the reason. You could look at that item and go, okay, a little bit more survivable, I guess, but at the same time, you're going to have, what, extra gold, if that's what it's after? Okay. Delnyy, though, playing Nike, someone we don't see heavy amounts of in terms of what the community feels and stats have dictated, is that Nike's pretty damn good. The difference is that we don't see a competitive play, so people don't realize it as much.
No, I think that the community is definitely behind on how good this character is. For whatever reason, I see a lot of Reddit threads and tweets, oh, Nike doesn't do anything. Oh, except, you know, have the best CC in the game, a massive HP shield that pretty much makes her unkillable. Sure, she's not going to do as much damage as some warriors, but she's also giving your entire team more damage and more movement speed. It blows my mind that we don't see more of this character, and I think this is a really good pick against the Hopwa from oBoronic. Even a full combo from him won't cut through that Sentinel of Zeus shield.
Now, Delnyy playing the Nike as well. I want to talk about, it's a very similar look to what a Cullen's going to do in team fights, I want to say. Quite happy to just dive into the back line, try and get some damage off, get focused, and then when things start going worse for wear, or the team wants to follow you in, pop that ultimate, slow them all down, and give yourself 40% of your health in terms of a shield at max level.
Or you pop your 2 and get a 60% of your health shield, because that's the good stuff right there coming from Nike. And remember, she did get a buff fairly recently that you don't need to have that plan of action activated in order to get that massive slow from her ultimate. Still affects how much health you're getting, whether you use that or not, but
look at this. Panda mid making a rotation left-hand side with the Kraken available. The pick on Inbound could be good. Whirlpool's down, Kraken in place, up, down, jobs are good, and Checo with a kill. A lot of that really set up, though, by Panda mid and that rotation.
And Koiz blinks ahead and gets a good body block as well to make sure that Inbound's locked in place. This is exactly what Panda mid did yesterday with this Poseidon pick. Same thing, level 5, as soon as he hits it, heads over to duo lane. And that's something that, whether or not Rival's been watching, they need to be, because that's something that you can learn.
But Jumpahhh needs to be watching where Layers is. He catches the chain, but the beads were used, and that's
all. You got both sets of beads there?
He did.
Why? Why beads that? Both were full health. Panda mid's Kraken's down. You're good. I mean, take the stun. It's not a big deal. That's just a bad decision by Layers and oBoronic. No reason to panic and use the beads in that spot. They also had enough time to look around and see who was around. Like,
sure.
Even if Koiz is there, he doesn't have Blink to catch up to you. He doesn't have his ultimate either. I don't know.
Oh, Delny's trying to get the shield up in time and will do so. Wolves did very good work there onto Delnyy to pressure him out so far. His teleport's already on cooldown here for Delnyy, so he's going to lose potentially quite a bit of farm to this wave. Wolves will stick in lane to make sure he gets the next wave too. Bad news for Bears for Wolves, though. I mean, I shouldn't have said Bears because he's a wolf, but at the same time, there's nothing really in the jungle for him to steal away and strip.
No, but this does deny a full wave against Delnyy, and you could already see that a level difference has developed in that solo lane. And anytime Guan Yu can get pressure over in that solo, he feels he feels so much better. I mean, whether you get to the late game with pressure or without pressure, once you hit late game Guan Yu, you feel phenomenal anyways, because he does a lot of damage. His heals are incredible. But if you can get a lead, your damage starts to feel really, really oppressive at times, especially against characters that don't have an easy way to interrupt it. And there is literally no one on the enemy team that can interrupt him easily outside of Michael Checo with an ultimate.
Yeah, that's going to be a real big issue for this one. Obviously, the protections from Terra Assault do come into play, stripping those down from some of the tankier targets. Although Delnyy won't mind too much because of health and shields. And of course, probably, I believe it's the second highest damage, or the first highest damage ability in the game is the ultimate from the Guan Yu. He got in the air in time to Jumpahhh. Layers no beads. There's a tower shot.
And now he's dead. Good. So is Panda mid, though, because of that crushing wave from oBoronic, but that's the example of you can't waste your relics in spots where you're going to need them later on. Layers end up taking a tower shot. Only thing that could have happened there is if Inbound goes into the tower first to take tower aggro and prevent that tower shot from happening. But Layers was right on the edge of the tower line, probably didn't know if he was going to take a tower shot anyways, may have called that he was dead no matter what. That would have been an incredible heads-up play from Inbound. Can't hold it against him that he didn't get there.
So much of a better start from Flashpoint here, though. Getting themselves 2 kills in the bag. Technically, the first 2 kills before Astral answered back. And they needed that. It's been a while since we've actually seen them get themselves a first blood, looking position and looking aggressive in the jungle position early on.
Yeah, Jumpahh's definitely off to a much better start in this game than he was in the Ratatosker, who just really wasn't able to make the impact of, let's say, Rapio was able to make on that same pick yesterday. Just wasn't quite aggressive in comparison, wasn't all over the place.
Good ward.
Was just kind of using it as a way to match the global pressure of Layers Thor.
Tell you what, Boronic doesn't drop that ward down there. The blinks would have come out straight away. Beads have been used by Layers again there to avoid that cataclysm. And Jumpahhh should have sensed that as Cyprexa uses his ultimate, the Living Nightmare, to get across towards his engagement. Put that ultimate on cooldown. So 1 for 1 in terms of ultimates, but the blink and beads were both expended.
Panda mid's beads also went there because Cyprexa was about to hit him with the 1-2 combo and find the root on bottom left to do some little bit of strange pathing from Panda mid. So Cyprexa's ultimate really there mostly to get him out of base quickly and make sure he doesn't lose too much farm and to make sure that nothing weird happens in the mid lane, and to get a set of beads for that ultimate as well is just icing on the cake.
At the moment, though, Astral Authority playing quite safe. You can see how far back both the mid lane and the dual lane are just sitting a little bit, allowing the minions to come to them and Flashpoint to pressure them out. Clearly, Flashpoint being the aggressors so far. Until this moment, jump into the sky, and with Layers going in with no beads, he's going to get pulled into the whirlpool and a Kraken soon after. Bit of bleed damage from Jumpahhh. Jobs are good for the 3rd kill of the game.
And Layers is now 0-2, off to a rough start in this one. And this is a great start for Flashpoint because of getting Layers behind. I mean, he is so important to this team. When he's starting to feel it, he's playing very aggressive. It creates so much space for Boronic to free cast in these team fights. If Layers isn't playing that aggressive nature, it could be trouble.
Oh, Checo forced the beads there as well. Koiz trying to help out. Inbound took a lot more damage. Checo still going for the kill here, and he may go down in trade if only Cyprexa can find the autos. He will in the end, and Koiz soon after. Boronic just whipped around the corner to take that one away. Crazy little skirmish in the duo.
Duo just a little bit too aggressive there by Michael Checo. I mean, kind of let Matt Koiz get that kill for you. It was really that at that point, especially after that 3 from the Artemis that put Inbound to 1 HP, then you can try and juke it out and live a little bit longer. Geb shield from Koiz was on the wrong target. He shielded himself instead of Checo. That ended up costing him as well.
Divine Ruin online for Panda mid. I like the idea of going anti-heal, obviously because of Guan. Also because Boronic did start off with that full look at the Bancross talent.
Yeah.
So that extra sustain is not going to be as impactful as it once was.
Layers was right there, but Koiz was local as well. Cyprexa's ultimate used is he'll use it to get nice and close to Koiz and root him in place. Knock-up is there as well. Koiz very low.
But the rollout is good. The Kraken is pretty solid too. Cyprexa managed to jump in and out of the wall, but into the trap. The red buff still alive here on the defenses. Now Delnyy making a big rotation to this left-hand side, as is Wolves, who's a little bit more delayed on this. Jumpahh's gonna blink in, pop the Powl out, looking for beads wherever possible, and Cyprexa didn't have any.
Cyprexa already used them earlier on. Delny's rotation is beautiful, slows down, great knock-up from Layers, and that ultimate for Boronic was solid, but now he might die.
No mana available for Boronic. Layers gonna try and turn this around. In comes Wolves 2. Cavalry charge used, early stuns, Panda in place, but the beads gets him away. Layers off on the right as Wolves does pick up Panda mid. So far it's a 3 for 3 engagement. Wolves won't be able to find anything more. Delnyy just leaps away.
Layers saves that whole fight by hitting a 3-man knockup with that Typhoon, then Wolves comes in to play cleanup crew a la Cyclone Spin almost, where he almost could have wiped the whole team if he could have found Michael Checo. But 3 for 3 overall. That really goes back to that red buff invade and Cyprexa just being really late on his beads. He beads to try and get into the wall to avoid the Kraken damage, which is the best possible play. But it was after he'd already taken Kraken damage. So he just ended up using beads for a whole lot of nothing in that spot. If he uses them early enough to avoid Kraken damage, that's one way he could have survived, or just not use them at all and then walk out and then have them in response to Jumpahh's Powl out.
Yeah, I think, though, if he doesn't use the beads there, he's probably going to get all in because he was still trapped in that whirlpool anyway.
Sure.
For a few seconds later, and the rest of the team would have noticed that and gone, okay, let's try and clean this up. So it didn't matter either way, in fairness. He had no real options in that situation.
No, you just got to be a little bit quicker on the trigger, I suppose, to
That's
get
the only
into
thing.
the wall. Yeah, the only way he would have had a chance. Even then, it's tough to say if he would have actually survived. Jumpahh's been really consistent with these Pow hits, and that's something that we missed a little bit of. I believe it was Layers who played it before. Maybe it was Jumpahhh who played it yesterday and didn't look particularly hot on the Pow pools. This time Jumpahh's playing much better.
I'm just excited about Jumpahhh playing aggressive. Like, I don't think I've seen him in a game so far where he's been the initiator. But talk about initiations, Cyprexa still has no beads. And that was well timed from Matt Koiz and Checo to take his life. Inbound could only sit and watch.
Good instincts from Inbound to jump in front and take the first hit of the board to try and let Cyprexa get his ultimate off, but couldn't do so in time. Jumpahhh blinks. Knockup won't land, but Powwow pull will. Inbound will fall as well. Checo gets both kills in the duo lane. He's off to a great 4-1-3 start.
Flashpoint clearly playing through the duo lane this game now. Panda mid rotated right at the start of the game to the duo lane to apply some pressure early on. And since then, we've seen a lot of focus towards Cyprexa and Inbound in this game. Just trying to keep them pinned back and get Checo and Koiz a lead.
This just kind of serves to reinforce what I was thinking about Game 1's picks and bans, though, and why is Flashpoint so worried about what Cyprexa is playing if you're going to camp duo anyways and set them behind as is? It just felt a little bit weird with their picks and bans, but certainly have turned it around a little bit here in Game 2. Yeah,
funny enough, I mean, if you're going to ban Artemis and, of course, the Danger Man himself, the new guy that's causing so many problems for everything as well, we'll see what why not ban one of them and take one? Instead they left them both up, so it ended up Cyprexa gets one of them anyway. It doesn't make a difference.
Well, either way, it's worked out thus far for Michael Checo and ends up being very far ahead, at least in kills, also in player damage, but not really in XP, only a level up over Cyprexa. And it's a big, important level. Hitting level 12 first and backing to get your second relic is absolutely critical. This makes him much safer than what Cyprexa has right now.
I'll actually say the only reason in that little bit of a level difference is when Cyprexa has been using his Living Nightmare ultimate to rotate around the map. That's the big the small little window that Checo has managed to develop a little bit more so here. He's trying to freeze the wave a little bit now and force a bit of an overextension from Astral Authority's dual lane once more for, well, more pressure once again.
Ends up baiting the opposition towards his side of the map. It's not because he's behind and is trying to deny creeps. I mean, denying creeps is good, but it's more trying to bait Cyprexa deeper down the lane. But now that he has beads and Aegis and Living Nightmare away towards solo lane or towards mid lane to some safety, I expect we'll see Cyprexa be a little bit safer now that he has both those relics out.
Well, last 7 minutes of game 1, no kills. This game, 15 kills in 14 minutes. Koiz goes in with a blink initiation once more. Inbound eats a Kraken, but he's still going to be fine for now. The knockback actually pulled him away. Jumpahhh may go for the cleanup, and with that Powwow could be good. oBoronic ults early to avoid the ultimate out from the Powwow, but now Jumpahh's in trouble.
Jumpahh's dead. Delnyy finds a knock up on the backside, but Wolves going to chase down Panda mid way too early on those beats. oBoronic found a double on the back as Delnyy couldn't handle the 3v1.
Still following Wolves along as he's looking to just bring down Panda mid. The knockback, though, as you rightly stated, just saves the life of Panda mid. And with that, it's 2 for 1 in favor of Astral Authority, maybe even 3.
Layers looking for Koiz, but with Checo here, trapped just off the mark for Checo. Look at this, Wolves gonna pull the Gold Fury. They only lost Inbound and all of that, Graham, and that's a totally fine trade to take if they can secure, and they do.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried about no one zoning. Checo walks up, the speed up from oBoronic's gonna get his team a little bit closer in range. Wolves won't give up forever, and if he can keep landing successful abilities, there's no way for Checo or Koiz to get the peel they need. He used the Aegis there, but it wasn't enough to stay alive. Astral Authority, after being behind from the aggression from Flashpoint, actually take the lead with that Gold Fury in the team fight.
This is what makes Astral so good and so difficult to beat, is that, you know, game 1, it's just all oBoronic. He kills everyone by himself, it feels like. In this game, everyone is doing a little bit better. I mean, dual lane's doing a lot better. oBoronic's 5-1 on Hebo, by the way, so already not great for Flashpoint, but no one has been able to touch Wolves at all.
Inbound, so far. Under a lot of pressure. Kraken did tickle, but not enough to cause harm. Into the sky, though. I thought, sorry, for a second I actually thought we saw the Living Nightmare come out from the Chernobog then, but no, not this time.
Sprint from Inbound is what threw off that Kraken from Panda mid. Didn't see it coming, and the Gem of Isolation he thought would slow him down enough, but Sprint was solid from Inbound, who is 0-5, but he's still 2 levels up on Matt Koiz, who has 7 assists. I don't understand how Koiz is that far behind in XP right now. And it just feels like Flashpoint's over-investing into Inbound. Inbound basically wants to die in these games. He's not worried about taking deaths. He's totally fine being the half of Flashpoint's kills through the first 16 minutes.
There's going to come a moment, though, that if Flashpoint keep trying to focus Inbound, that he's just not going to
It was almost that last one. It was almost that last engagement where you got Kraken and Dodgy ulted and Geb ulted. There were 3 ultimates expended to kill only Inbound. And then the rest of the fight for Flashpoint was really hard to take because they didn't have some of their most impactful ults.
I'm kind of okay with the focus towards the supports in the first 10 levels, but after that, you got to give up the goose. Jumpahhh gets aggressed on by Layers and turns around the favor beautifully. Walls come down from Inbound, but in goes Delnyy. can't find what he was really after there, which was the knock-up on Layers who got away. Koiz, meanwhile, on
Whoa.
oBoronic. oBoronic under the tower, looking for the kill and gets
What?
it. Still alive and gets away from the tower range. Jumpahhh trying to punish him, but gets a double kill. oBoronic now looking for a third. He's going to be Wolves that picks it up, though, as Delnyy just has to run away. The army of Astral are slaughtering Flashpoint with their own tier 1. That could be a Fire Giant, that could be a Phoenix, that could just be game.
Shouts to Bancroft's talent healing, baby. That you get that extra lifesteal and power when you're low. That is why this is considered a very old counter matchup for Hebo, where Panda mid's like, I got him right in my sights, I'm gonna crack in, and I just got crushing wave for my entire health bar. oBoronic sets it up, the rest of the team there as well. The Wolves and oBoronic duo right now, just too much for Flashpoint to handle.
And look at the growth in the last minute of that one fight. That's how much they got out of it. Pretty much. It was like a 3,000-4,000 experience.
Yeah.
Well, it's 10K now. 6,500 gold. Gold Fury's down. So, hey, it's all about the right-hand side of the map.
I think this could be a Fire Giant pull, but instead it'll just be Pyromancer. Astral will leave Wolves around to make sure that there is no shenanigans around this Fire Giant while the rest of the team backs and buys with a lot of gold that they just got. That was before oBoronic got Soul Reaver, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we feel good about that.
I'm more surprised that he got under the tower, didn't get focused, took 2 tower shots, and still managed to get out alive.
What is oBoronic paying Flashpoint to not hit him with anything? You know, I mean, last game he dies one time when slaughtering everyone basically by himself. This game he's Hebo, for God's sakes, and he only has 1 death in 7 kills. You're right, he dies at tier 1, and everyone else is distracted elsewhere. I mean, when you go into a game like this, you have to understand who is going to beat you and how to stop them.
Koiz going in on oBoronic. Now is the call. He's got no beads. He's got no Aegis. He's got no life. Inbound now with the ultimate, looking towards Jumpahhh, who uses the Parlow to get to the sky. Layers forced to beads away from the Parlow. Wolves round the corner, though, and Koiz is already dead.
Oh, Wolves gonna chase down Checo. Does have his relics. Inbound, forcing Jumpahhh out of this fight, but who's going to answer on the Wolves right now? Delnyy just trying to slow the aggression from Astral.
And slow is exactly what he just did, but taking a lot bigger chunks than he bargained for. Whirlpool from Panda mid will buy him enough moments to get away. Left-hand side, Jumpahhh does escape to Inbound. I don't understand why he thought he was going to be able to kill that, but you know, sometimes it's a hope and a dream.
And Jumpahhh will get a couple waves for himself on this left-hand side, and this tier 1 tower should go down. Teleport still down for Wolves, so no way for him to get here and save this tier 1. And killing oBoronic does slow the pace a little bit for Astral Authority, but Gold Fury is going to be up right as oBoronic spawns, so that's likely where the next fight will be.
Delnyy has no ultimate and a beautifully timed route from Inbound. He's going to allow Cyprexa to just keep poking the pressure on, and Layers blinks in, cleans up the kill. This tier 1 tower on the right is in trouble now. Panda mid on the rotation to support. They still have to deal with fire minions in mid lane. Yes, fire minions in mid lane already.
And a level 15 Poseidon can have trouble clearing those waves. In fact, Panda mid's already sold his Mage's Blessing just to finish Obsidian Shard. And I think this is a wise call. It feels bad to sell your Mage's Blessing this early, to lose that 10% CDR and lose that tiny bit of extra power on your abilities. But Obsidian Shard is such an important power spike, and he needs it desperately to try and do any damage whatsoever to Wolves, because Wolves just feels invincible right now.
I mean, you just saw Checo and Jumpahhh on this left-hand side of the map. They know where Wolves is, and like,
We're good.
Guess we just, you know, walk away.
Yeah, he's
This
fine.
is his place now.
He has his permits. He's allowed to be here. That's fine by us. Now, Fire Giant didn't do anything at all for Astral Authority. I mean, they haven't gotten it yet, so I mean, they haven't gotten that buff to try and push down these towers. So at least Flashpoint has that as a silver lining.
Wolves is just looking to dominate everywhere on the map where he can. He's already level 20 and relatively full build at this moment. So what else do you do? Well, you try and put that pressure on from being a solo laner that's already level 20.
And he's got max CDR. He just ulted Panda mid, did half his health, was trying to bait out some relics. Panda mid wisely holds on to them. But Wolves has 40% CDR, and he's getting cooldowns back from using his heal on his teammates, from dashing through enemies. That ultimate's going to be up in 20 seconds.
And on the left-hand side, Checo's trying to get back to that tier 1 tower. And now that Cyprexa saw him, the call would have come through. So Wolves will look to wrap around the back towards Checo. Checo's still looking forward. Ends up taking more poke. Trap won't connect, and He's got no Aegis, he's got no beads, he's got a ball, but the ball will not keep him topped up. Layers in, Layers out. Koiz blinks, followed up by Jumpahhh.
Typhoon only going to knock up one. Cyprexa uses Living Nightmare to give himself some mitigation, and Delnyy is just totally zoned away. Kraken was an oof from me on the Panda mid, and now he's got to use his beads. His Layers will clean up this tier 1 on left, and even though Layers, Oboronic, Wolves are all kind of low, this is where Guan Yu shines. Plus, they have that healing from Inbound.
Started so well for Flashpoint in Game 2, but it looks like he's going the same way now as Game 1. As Astral just, once they farm, they just group and cause so many problems. Oboronics an issue, Wolves is an issue. When there's so many issues, you don't know where to focus.
Yeah, it just feels pretty clear right now, at least through these 2 games, that Astral Authority is the better team right now. And Flashpoint's going to need a miracle in order to make something happen here. Jumpahhh loses his beads. Wolves right up and off that horse very quickly, and mid-Phoenix getting low. Jumpahhh wins the 1v1 against Layers as he went too aggressive, but Astral do get that mid-Phoenix.
It's fine with the Phoenix going down. I mean, if they do keep him alive there, Layers, they may have been able to look towards a Fire Giant a little bit earlier, but now it's going to be Astral on a bit of a defensive moment in the game. Just make sure they don't lose the Fire Giant, don't lose that Pyromancer while they wait for Layers to respawn. Although that's exactly where Flashpoint are now, and it's only really Inbound around here. Tell a lie. Wolves. I was worried where Wolves was, and he'd already TP'd back.
I know, I was saying pull it in my head, but then I saw Wolves. And
the raid boss is back.
Never mind. Yeah, this is fine.
Speaking of the raid boss getting engaged on now. Well, they need a lot of DPS, and yeah, throw more dots, and the dots worked out well.
Yeah.
Inbound, still under pressure. Delnyy leaps onto him, as does Jumpahhh. Oboronic round the corner, though, forces the ult from Jumpahhh with a Powwow. Pulls Inbound. No, he does not. Delnyy, though, gonna slow him. Inbound still being focused. Taking a long time to bring down this tank who's still alive.
Oboronic very alone now on this Hebo. Has his ultimate and does good damage, but that's all he will do. Oboronic just way too far forward there, trying to save his own support. Sometimes you just gotta let the support go, my mans.
To be fair, it's unusual I get to see that most of the time. Only competitive play do you actually see anybody try and save a support.
Yes.
Only in professional play.
Cyprexa's ultimate, slowing down the opposition, but he'll just land back where he took off from. No way to get there safely and without getting collapsed upon, just like Oboronic and Wolves did, so they decided to take it slow.
So now it's all about the Fire Giant for both these 2 teams. Still, though, Flashpoint have to deal with Fire Minions down the mid lane. Not the worst lane to deal with, however. They'll be okay to be able to clear them as they still defend this Fire Giant.
All pen so far for Cyprexa, and I really like it. It allows him to chunk through Delnyy way easier than if he would have gone crit. Plus, Delnyy went for Thorns. You don't want to build crit into that. It's really been a crit-centric build. Yeah, and a gap. This is definitely the right call from Cyprexa.
Well, Fire Giant started. Delnyy on zone duty for the most part. Koiz secondary for defense. Drops the shield on Delnyy, and instead, the Fire Giant's still leashed here at the moment as Panda gets aggressed up by Layers. Layers rips him apart, and now the pressure onto Checo, who ate the whole of the Tornado and the whole of the Tallow Assault. Koiz can only watch and turn towards helping Jumpahhh and does good work before he falls, but now Jumpahhh surrounded. When the Powwow is used, there's all 4 members waiting to catch him.
Ring around the rosy a little bit here with Jumpahhh, who will have that Trickster Spirit up soon, but just going to use it to try and knock down Layers. He will not be able to do that. I don't know if Astral's going to be able to end because they're just so far from the Titan
here. They got Hebo, they could have.
They've got Hebo. I think they probably could have if they just would have rushed down the Titan, but there are a lot of towers still up on the right-hand side. They can get Fire Giant and a Phoenix here most likely.
To be fair, arguably Game 1, this was a very similar story in terms of they could have ended the game a couple of times, but chose the safer option. If anything, it just gives Rival a bigger idea of like what the strategies are going to be.
Panda there just insta-died to Layers, and he's got to get Kraken off. I don't know if his relics were up. They're up now, but they may have been down at that time. For the benefit of the doubt, I'll give it to him that they were down, but he definitely had Kraken up. And instead tried to use Trident to get away. As soon as Susano is that close to you, you are dead. And that is just, it's a binary option. You are absolutely dead.
It's over.
So you need to get Kraken off, force him to beads, deal half his health, a quarter of his health. It's better than dying with it. Panda mid was literally a non-factor in that fight.
And with how the game is as well in terms of builds and the respawn timers, throw a Kraken out, it'll be back up by the time you respawn if you're going to die anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Give it a go.
If you're going to die as a mage, use your ultimate.
But as we said, we're giving him the benefit of the doubt that it wasn't available. He couldn't do it.
He had Kraken up, may not have had his relics, so
Yeah.
we'll give him that one. But it's just a general rule of thumb, especially in competitive play. Even if it's a raw snipe that you are aiming 180 degrees away from everyone else, if you're dead, shoot it, because someone might try and juke it. It might hit someone. It's going to be up anyways. If you're dead, dump as much damage out as you can. Running and dying with your back turned to the opposition doesn't do your team a whole lot of good at all.
Cyprexa going to do the Gold Fury for Astral Authority before making his rotation towards the mid lane. That weekend Phoenix still has 5 minions pouring in, but everybody on Flashpoint there to defend. And Cyprexa, the only member not having the Fire Giant around his waist, does reduce some of the damage he's going to do to the structures. I mean, there's only Phoenixes left.
Might have been the right call to wait. I mean, there was a full deicide. It was 20 seconds on his respawn timer, but still, go push tower real quick, then go towards Fire Giant
go
and kill it. Yeah, I mean, or just go end. That was certainly an option too. I think Cyprexa is willing to do gold there because his beads were down for 20 seconds more. Doesn't want to get pulled by Jumpahhh, so just wait it out a little bit. Do the Gold Fury while you're twiddling your thumbs, and then start pushing Phoenixes.
Left-hand side's getting a free bit of poke onto that too, which is drawing the attention of Panda mid. That means there's an opportunity in the mid lane for a second for Astral to look towards. Layers now rotating from the right-hand side, still trying to hide his way through the jungle a little bit here. Has his blink available, but his beads are on cooldown for a little while. Luckily enough, Magi's cloak to make up for that.
Magi's will certainly help him out in that regard. Stun misses on the Delnyy as Astral now, first one in. Cyprexa actually taking a little bit of that damage. Magi's cloak just got lost on Koiz as he walked in to the very late detonating crystallized curses. He's cursing himself.
It's on Koiz this one, by the way. He's got to get a good blink initiation and hope for the best from the rest of his team. He can't really allow Astral just to charge in because the backline will get terrorized by the amount of gods that are going to come at him. And Geb can't stop them all at the same time, I'll tell you that much. In they go, though. The charge is on, as I just called for. And Astral Authority are just watching Checo get beaten to death on the back line inside his own fountain. The Kraken went off, but it didn't kill anyone just yet as Layers cleans up the Kraken carrier for the moment. Phoenix not even being looked at. Inbound still taking up the front with Wolves.
Cursed Onk used by someone there, but who cares? I mean, that's an easy kill on a Koiz. That was his Cursed Onk. Mid Phoenix falls again, and oBoronic has ultimate this time. I don't think Astral's wasted anymore.
Flashpoint's tournament could be coming in to an end here right about now as oBoronic takes down Jumpahhh. Astral Authority then go on to face Rival in the console finals.
Man, they lost quickly yesterday to Rival. They certainly have their work cut out for them, but they look so much better here today. And it's all about mid lane for me. oBoronic, night and day performance from yesterday to today. Just a matter of can he replicate that now against Rival.
And that's going to be the big thing, because if we look at the individual matchups between those two, I'm excited to see how this one plays out in the finals now. Commiserations, though, to Flashpoint. They did get through Revenge, but couldn't get past their North American brethren.
No, like I said, it just seemed pretty clear to me that Astral Authority was the better team in this set. I mean, Flashpoint had some good moments, but overall, every lane was in trouble a lot of the time. The dual lane continued to be a bright spot for Flashpoint. They looked good against Rival, kind of the only lane to look good against Rival. They looked pretty good again for moments here today, but overall, they just seemed a little bit outclassed.
Did Flashpoint at any point in this tournament look with a smile on their face? I don't think I've really seen them look like they're happy at all.
And I think that honestly, that stands out to me.
Oh, sorry, there's one.
There's one right there.
We're out, hooray!
I mean, I think that having fun is so important during these LANs. And even, it really is telling to me when a team before a game isn't joking around, isn't laughing, or even talking that much. It never seemed like these guys were communicating that much. They're just kind of sitting there waiting for their games to start. And I think that does put you in a bad mindset going into these games. I don't know, maybe they were just talking very, not very loudly or, very quietly to themselves, and they were having a good time without showing it, but it just seemed via the player cams that this team, I don't know if something needs to change or what, but clearly they needed to figure something out for the next week.
You guys at home get to choose who was MVP for that game specifically, and I'm not sure. I guess it's got to be oBoronic again.
I don't know. Wolves might have it for me because oBoronic was doing very well in the early game, but there was that one fight by Gold Fury where oBoronic falls, and then everyone is like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. Then Wolves comes in, the literal cavalry to save everybody with that ultimate. I think Wolves has it in that one.
It's good because we've got two different opinions, because I think that oBoronic play in the mid lane where he goes under the tower with the ultimate
sure,
and gets
that
out
did
gets
end
a
the
double.
Game. Okay,
I got him a Phoenix,
yeah,
right?
you convinced me. Yeah, it's probably oBoronic.
Wow.
Yeah, that won the game.
I was surprised that you agreed with me. Let's get over to the desk to break down that set and then look towards the finals.
Thanks a lot, boyos. That was Graham and Aggro. Right here, it's Tom and Tolly. This is the trophy they're going to fight over, but in the finals. Astral are one step closer to it. Now that they've taken care of business and put Flashpoint to the side, finals will be Rival coming from Europe and Astral coming from North America. But let's reflect on how Astral got there.
And I think that a lot has to do with both of what Hindu and Agar was saying. The combination of the performance between oBoronic and Wolves really sealed the deal this game. Yeah, Layers went 9-3 and 14, playing Susano jungle, all fine and dandy, but the healing was an impact. Great healing coming from Guan. Even Terra just influencing a smidge.
Yeah, Wolves had a great game. oBoronic obviously on top of the world there. Across the way at Flashpoint, you heard the shout out to the duo lane. Always going to give a shout out to Delnyy. I think he definitely improved this matchup from where he was earlier in the weekend. Saturday was not Delny's favorite day, I'm sure. Today he did look a little bit better. Not as bright as his hair, but certainly a little bit of a brighter spot for Flashpoint. Astral, on the other hand, I mean, can't really pick a guy that had a dark spot. Everybody here looked good today.
Everybody did a little bit of work for Astral. For Flashpoint at the beginning of the game, it was a good start to Michael Checo getting that first blood, and a great rotation from Panda mid, which was a little uncharacteristic for him considering the way he's been playing in the earlier part of this tournament. So a good little step up. Unfortunately, it came a little bit too late into this tournament.
Very excited to go ahead and announce that Wolves will be your most valuable player for this match. Fantastic Guan Yu play here for this young man, and just it's always fun to watch Wolves be good. I don't know what it is, Tolly. Sometimes players bring the fan out in you.
Yes.
And Wolves is this guy. I love to watch him play. He has a dominant play style. When he's able to be that dominant, there's just not another player that looks like him, Tolly. And I mean, as a solo laner, it must be even more fun.
Oh yeah, the rotations were on point, and the confidence to pick Guan Yu when it wasn't the last pick either. Yeah. It was the 7th pick into the overall draft. So there was some counterplay potential, but instead it was a Nike for Delnyy, thinking more team fighting centric with the aura, but he kind of forgot that the slow could be negated, and that's why I think oBoronic picked the Habwa, dropping the carpet to negate some of that Nike slow.
Yeah. Beautiful picks coming out from Astral. As we said, they're in the finals, and it's been a long road to get there. Saturday, we saw a number of matches. Astral beat up Revenge, but then ultimately lose to the European team Rival, which knocked them down into the lower side where they fought against Flashpoint and do find the victory in 2 games. Now, heading on to the finals. This is going to be a best of 5 and potentially 2. If Astral beat Rival in the best of 5, then we have what's called a bracket reset, and we got to do it all over again. That, of course, is because Rival haven't lost. So if they just win, they win and they go home. But Astral Authority, sort of as a trade-off for their second chance, they have to win twice here in the finals. So it could be a long afternoon.
And what's interesting is that these two teams meet each other again in the finals, but different ways about it, where it was Rival in the spring that had to battle their way through the lower bracket. Astral were sitting pretty up top. And there's a lot more warm-up, I would say, for Astral now having to go through this game where Rival are going into this next set cold. So there is some pros and cons for both of these teams.
That's very true. Rival, though, they've got the game on their mind. Let's see what they have to say before we get to the battlefield.
Joined now by Astral Authority. Guys, congratulations on your win. I want to ask you about Game 1 Layers, where the first 10 minutes, really slow, no kills. Then oBoronic hits this insane flick snipe in the mid lane. That kind of opened the floodgates. But is that the type of play that makes you feel like this game's ours right away?
Yeah, when I see oBoronic spot from the get-go, it's definitely a good game. I was playing pretty slow because it's taking me a little bit to turn on. I don't know. I was like still sore from yesterday, so it took me a little bit, you know.
So going from this set then, you guys have obviously played a couple times this season so far up against Flashpoint. How do you feel they performed themselves this time?
That was actually probably one of the best games they played against us. Usually, I don't say one of the best. It was like a pretty good game from them. They sometimes play better, sometimes play worse. But overall, they just, I don't know, it's like two fights just turned both games, and like other than that, they played well.
Is that the set that you guys needed to get some confidence going up against Rival? I mean, you guys had a tough set against them yesterday. Did you need to get a 2-0 here against Flashpoint to really feel confident going into Rival?
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. It's definitely like a good confidence booster coming off like a dominant. Well, I wouldn't say dominant, but it was a good game either way. Good set.
Now, obviously, you faced Rival today. Now that you've managed to defeat Flashpoint, obviously, Ryan, mentioning about the defeat yesterday, have you managed to fix any issues that you guys saw from the games yesterday? And do you have plans for the finals today?
Yeah, we have a lot of plans that we thought up last night for Rival, and we're ready to put them in. The only thing that threw us off was they play probably the most aggressive, even out of NA teams, and it's like perfectly aggressive, like not over aggressive either. And yeah, it just threw us off a lot. But we're ready now.
After the games yesterday, I asked them how different it felt to play against you guys compared to spring and now, and they said that it didn't really feel that different. Do you feel like it's going to be, what is going to make it different this time around in the finals?
We're ready. Yeah. Before the other times, we weren't that ready. Even this LAN coming into it, we thought we were prepared, and we weren't prepared against them. And I think we're a lot more prepared now than we've ever been against them.
We'll talk about getting prepared. You've got to do potentially 2 best-of-5s now back-to-back if you can force the bracket reset. My last question for you, really, before we let you go then, is can you force the first bracket reset we've ever had?
Yeah. Yeah, we can.
I think we can for sure, if we play like we should.
What's the scoreline going to be?
Scoreline? Say like 9-0 or something like that.
9-0? I like it.
Yeah, KDA. Yeah.
I'll take it. Oh, the KDA. Okay, I actually meant games, but...
Oh, 3-1?
3-1. Okay, that's better. I was like, 9-0? I'm like, whoa.
No.
I didn't think it was the best of that. Anyway, boys, have a good time. We'll see you in the finals very shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you.